Hello, everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my Getting Results in Business series, we're on our 14th out of 15 units in the upper intermediate level of our Business English course. This is Unit 4 on Business Culture, or how culture is an important aspect of doing business. I'm John Eric, your verbally teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means please turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. Also, tune in to the new words and expressions that you're learning. That means use them as actively as you can so that I can correct you and give you feedback. And finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And now I want to share my screen with you so you can take a look at the material. Remember, when you join the class, under the green Join button, in the video window, you have all the material right here. But I'll be nice and I'll give you a link to the notes here as well. You go to the notes, you see our blue Getting Results in Business graphic. And if you go down to page 6, which I'll do right now, you have our class for today. Here it is. In this unit, you discuss different cultural beliefs and values. You practice the language of narrating past events and review the relevant past tense grammar. That's actually what we're going to do today. In the case study, which is at the end of the unit, you are faced with a situation which requires a good level of cultural awareness. And you have to solve the problem using that. So first, I'm just going to open the presentations for today. The first one is the homework, and the second one is our unit. We can take a quick look at the homework, and then we'll move into the business skills section. So, I was only able to send this pretty late last night, so you probably didn't have a chance to do it. Let's find out.
You're right.
Okay. Let's do an example just to make sure it's clear. So, this is working with words. If you're watching out there, you know that you can check your homework on the last page and then bring your questions to class. But all we have here are just the key words that we've learned. Hierarchical, cautious, egalitarian. So what do you think the answer is to the first one? Let's try one together. Daniel.
I like to make my own choice about the way I live my life.
The way I live?
I live my life. Individualistic.
I think so too. Individualistic, because it's about me. So, this is just a review of some of the key words, and I think you've got the right idea. In the second part, complete the sentences with correct prepositions. Why don't you try the first one too? See if you can pick the right preposition.
Okay. With the correct preposition. My last boss was sensitive about people's needs and treated everyone very well.
Try again.
My last boss was sensitive.
By the way, this is the hardest thing you will do in the English language. It's not. It's the hardest thing. There's no logic.
One of the hardest things. No, the only one.
No, I think it's the hardest because there's absolutely no rules that you can follow. There's no way to know. You just have to know from reading and exposure. The answer here is my boss was sensitive to people's needs.
Mhm.
So we use to. This is the pattern with sensitive. Sensitive to. Okay, so you have to just, one thing you can do is just look through the first presentation, look through it,
Ah,
familiarize, and then maybe this will refresh your memory from what you've read. That's my only suggestion. Other than that, it's just pure reading, listening, and any kind of exposure.
mhm.
Okay, Daniel, where is everyone? This is so bizarre. We always have 9 people in the class and 20 people watching, and this week and last week, it's very quiet in the business class. It worries me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's really irregular.
It's very strange. Uh, well, Odie will probably be here. He's always late, so he'll probably be here. I send a message to Rachel, and then everyone else comes and goes. Fabio has been here, but maybe it's only certain days. I don't know. But it's their loss. So let's move on to the business skills section. Narrating past events. In order to talk about culture, you'll probably talk about an experience. So, telling a story is the same skill as telling an anecdote, a personal anecdote. So let's do that. As always, you're going to learn through listening first.
Mhm.
Let's start with the context. Why don't you read through the context, and let's figure out what kind of situation we're dealing with first.
Okay. Critical incidents are communication situations which the participants find problematic or confusing. They often consist of a misunderstanding, a linguistic mistake, or some kind of culture faux pas.
Fox pass. Uh-oh.
French word.
Faux pas.
Faux pas. I don't know.
Faux pas. Faux pas means it's like a mistake, a
Ah,
social error, a blunder.
uh-huh. Okay. They are events that can highly different culture, belief and values. They are about ways of behaving that might be interpreted in different ways by different people, particularly when people from different culture backgrounds communicate with each other.
There you go. So we're going to use this idea of critical incidents to talk about how we can exchange information in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Give me just a second here because I want to open a second copy of this on my computer. In just a second. Okay, yeah, here we go. Okay, so we're going to listen to 2 conversations describing critical incidents. You're going to decide which 2 of these situations is mentioned in the conversation. And hopefully, some of you people out there can join us because there's plenty of room in the class. Sorry, so we got noise in the room. Hold on a second here.
Neighbors fighting.
Yeah, something like that. My neighbors are fighting, that's right. Okay, so what are our choices, Daniel? Just read through the list, make sure everything is clear, and then we'll do the listening. What are our choices? What kind of critical incidents might we hear?
Um,
1 through 5.
in the context I've read.
No, here on the screen. What do you see?
Okay, in the picture.
Above the picture, right.
Yeah. Which is it?
So read through the list first.
Listen to 2 conversation describing. No.
No. That's what we're going to do. That just says to listen. What are the 5 possible critical incidents that we're going to hear.
Okay.
Read through the list, 1 to 5 for us.
Importance of punctuality.
Okay.
Questioning an authority figure.
Good.
Importance of seniority and titles.
Good.
Small talk before meetings. Saying yes to avoid loss of face.
Loss of face.
I don't know the last one.
Loss of face.
To avoid loss of face.
If you lose face, not faith, but face. If you lose face, you tend to lose confidence. But there's a reason. When you, what's another way?
Okay, I understand. When you don't understand, but you are nothing. Yeah. No?
Say again? I didn't get the whole idea.
When someone is talking to you, and you aren't understanding anything.
When someone's talking to you and you don't understand anything,
but you are nodding.
It's a good guess. It is a good guess. It doesn't actually mean that.
Okay.
A loss of face means that you're looking bad to someone, and therefore you lose your confidence. In fact, let's see if we can just get a good example. If you hang on just a second. Oh, what is this? 1 second. Let's see if we can get a good example. I mean, that's what it means, but let's see if we can get a good example, because it's a good expression, useful expression, to lose face. Does it have it? False face.
False face.
Wow, doesn't have it.
Loss of face.
Doesn't have it though. Hold on a second. Let's say loss of face. Wow. I can't believe it. It doesn't have it. It's not like a strange expression, so I don't know why it doesn't have it. Let's see what just comes up generally.
Word reference.
Yeah, word reference is good. Face. Oh, look, loss of face, Oxford. Okay, that's good. Let's see what Oxford says. Geez, this loads very slowly. Ah, look how simple they make it. Humiliation.
Okay.
He could step aside now without loss of face. So my definition is, it's not wrong, but maybe it's a lot easier if you say humiliation. I said that you look bad, and therefore you lose confidence. So maybe I'm being too specific. I like this. This is easy. Loss of face. Feeling humiliated. So saying yes to avoid humiliation. Maybe you don't understand what they're saying. You just keep saying yes because you don't want to be embarrassed. Okay. So what we're going to do... Whoops. I don't want to go there. I want to go here. And let's try this as a listening. And all you people watching out there, plenty of room in the class. Come on in. Here we go. The conversation is between two people, Tony and Dieter. Here we go. Dieter says, "There was one situation I remember while I was living in Korea. You know, I went out there to help with an engineering project." Tonya, "Yeah?" Dieter, "Well, I was responsible for a team of telecom engineers, great guys. We all got along very well, and I was welcomed into the company as if I'd lived there for years. As time went by, I noticed that things weren't being done that I'd requested them to do. If I asked someone to do something and they said yes, 9 times out of 10, it wasn't done. That was when I was aware we had a problem. But it was actually nothing to do with language. And it wasn't until I talked to a Korean friend that I realized what was wrong. Tonya says, well, what had you done? Dieter, nothing. I told my friend what had happened, and he explained that there were 2 problems. First, my team didn't want to refuse my request due to respect for my seniority. But also, they didn't want to give an argument why they couldn't do what I wanted. So their answer was yes. Tonya, I see. So you mean they didn't want to admit they couldn't do what you'd asked them to do, or to show negativity towards you by saying no? Dieter, exactly. Luckily, I found out before I confronted anyone about the jobs that hadn't been done. I found this out. Tonya, and did you resolve it? Dieter, yes. After that, I was a lot more careful. What I asked my team to do and how I phrased the request was what I focused on. So that was the first situation. And we have one more. Here's the second. This is with Gabby. Hold on a second. Gabby and Nico. Gabby says, I was responsible for finalizing a new office building in Warsaw along with my manager in the Netherlands. While I was liaising with both the Polish employees and my manager, I discovered our 2 cultures had quite different approaches. Well, for example, when we were finalizing the plans for the office space, my manager wanted glass partitions, but the Polish employees hated the idea. So, when I realized they hadn't actually, oops, wait 1 second, I think there's a mistake here. My manager wanted the glass partitions, but the Polish people hated the idea. I realized they hadn't actually told him this. They told me and hoped that I'd tell him on their behalf. Nico says, so what did you do? Gabby, well, I told him. It seems that none of them wanted to question an authority figure. So that was what the problem solved. That was the first problem to solve. Nico, there were more? Gabby, oh yes, another situation occurred when I was mentoring a recent IT graduate, Magda. While we were developing a new database, I gave her the job of asking staff for their views on the database. I even put together a few sample questions. Nico, what happened? Gabby, well, she came back with very little information. I was extremely disappointed. What's more, the information she had only related to the questions I'd written. She hadn't written any questions of her own to get useful information for us. I didn't know what to do. All in all, it was a difficult situation. Nico, so what did you do? Gabby, well, in the end, I asked Anna, a Polish colleague. Despite Magda's qualifications, she was still the most junior person in the department. So apparently, more senior people would be unwilling to answer her questions. Nico, oh, a hierarchy thing. Gabby, yes, it came about because of the lack of information about why we were questioning them. It seems that Magda also wasn't comfortable with the task, so she didn't add to the questions I suggested. Nico, so how did you solve the problem? Gabby, well, I sent out a memo explaining what Magda would be doing and why. I also noted Magda's qualifications and wrote the memo in English. The reason being that Magda needed to be respected by her colleagues, and English gave the note neutrality. Nico, and? Gabby, it really surprised me, but it worked. And that is the situation. So let's go back to our 5 points.
Hmm.
We've got 2 different situations.
Hmm.
What do you think was the critical incident in the first situation? Or was there more than one? Maybe there was several.
Maybe because of the guy is a senior, they gave orders to their team and they never they never say no. Always
Refused.
say refuse.
Never refused, like
Refuse
this
his
Chapman
orders.
bill.
Yes,
Refused.
because they are very respectful.
Respectful. Right.
Respectful. Yes. They
So which number is that?
3.
Number 3. The importance of
seniority and titles.
Right, the importance of seniority and titles. Okay, I agree completely. Was anything else happening?
Yes. The other problem was his team always say yes.
Right.
I think the saying yes to avoid loss of face, because that culture, they are very embarrassing.
Humble.
Humble. Okay, humble. Yeah.
Humble.
Hmm.
I agree with you completely. 3 and 5. And what about the second situation with Gabby and Nico? But by the way, it could be the exact same thing. It's up to you. You don't have to. Just because we had a one answer in the first doesn't mean it can't apply to the second. So, which 2 of these do you think apply to the second?
I don't know the meaning of the question. The way.
What's that?
I don't know the question.
The question? Oh, same question. Which 2 critical incidents?
Okay. Yeah. I only get one.
Okay, what's that?
The first one was to questioning an authority figure.
I agree completely.
But the second one I couldn't get it.
Okay, explain the first one though. Why did you choose questioning an authority figure? It's correct, but why did you choose it? What was the clue to help you? What was the situation?
Yes, it's in Poland.
Right. This girl Magda was tasked with serving the staff, so she had to use some questions, add some extra questions, and then interview people. And the results were really bad.
Yes.
Right? So how did that have to do with questioning an authority figure? What was the issue?
I can't remember.
But you got the answer right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, because in that moment I get it, but I can't remember.
Let's take a quick look.
It's a long story, a long dialogue.
Let's take a quick look. Here on slide 7, look what Gabby says. Well, in the end, I asked Anna, a Polish colleague. See that part?
Yes.
Okay, let's read from there. I'll be Nico, you be Gabby. Nico says, what was her view?
Well, despite Magda's qualifications, she was still the most junior person in the department, so apparently more senior people could be unwilling to answer her question.
Yeah, so I think that answers it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So how would you summarize that? Choice number 2 is correct because? Give me a little summary. Because
senior people didn't treat very well to a junior employee. Employee.
Exactly. That's right. Senior people didn't treat very well, or they didn't respect the authority of the junior. You could say that as well. Okay, I agree completely. And the other one I would add is number 3 again. The importance of seniority. So she didn't have the seniority to ask them, and only when they were told the purpose, in that way, they were open to talking to her. So I would say 2 and 3 for this, both of them. Now here's the thing. This was a lot of information to listen to, but what I want you to look at is the way she told the story is what's important here. The way she told the story. So we have some excerpts from both stories. And you've got all those little connector words. Do you see them on top?
Yes. In the end, but then it came about because of, as time went by, so it wasn't until, due to, so what, that was when.
Okay, so we've taken all those out. Now it might be a good idea to categorize some of these. So which of these words mean because?
Due to.
Due to. So because equals due to, or I should say actually due to equals because. So let's put that in the chat window. Okay. Which one gives a result? Which one or ones gives a result?
So that was.
So that was.
So what?
Could be. I think, yeah, could be. So what happened was, so what? Okay, could be.
That was when.
That's more about time. Probably not. But also we have the word because. It came about because of. It came about.
Came about because of. Okay.
I would add that because of, and all of that equals a reason for something. Okay. Which ones give a summary or a conclusion?
As time went by?
As a summary? For me, that would be continuing
the story.
In the end. Yeah. Anything else, or is that it?
That.
What do you think?
In the end.
Don't find anything, then maybe that's the only conclusion. Maybe that's it. Okay, we might find others, but for now, that seems to be the only conclusion. So what you have right now is how to express cause, how to express reason, how to express a conclusion. Okay, how do we express time passing or sequence?
As time went by.
As time went by. You must remember this. A kiss is just a kiss as time goes by. What else?
That was when.
Of course. That was when. It's another time expression. What else?
It wasn't until.
Until, another time expression. What else?
That.
We don't know. It's too vague. It could be anything. It could be that's why. It could be that's because. But the next one, but then,
Ah,
is clearly a time reference. And all of those are expressed a sequence of events. So I'll put sequence and time. And we've covered every one except for that. So we've got 4 really good categories. The categories are cause, conclusion. I'm going to put this in the chat window. Whoops, let me fix the spelling. Cause, conclusion, reason, and sequence. Sequence or time. Okay, so those are your 4 categories, and everything fits in one of those categories so far. I think if you know those categories, you don't need to listen again. You probably can guess. So, let's try it. And all you people out there, come on in and you can participate. Daniel is lonely.
yeah. I feel alone.
Okay, so let's try it. Let's see how it works. Critical incident 1.
For years, blank, I noticed that things weren't being done that I'd requested.
If you're not sure, just skip it because you'll probably get it later on.
Okay. As time went by.
As time went by. That is absolutely right. Number 1. For years, time went by. Whoops.
I don't know what it means. This expression.
Which expression?
As time went by.
Went by is to pass.
Yeah, but the idioms as time went by.
I think you do know, though. What time is it now?
11:30.
Of course. What time did the class begin?
11.
How much time went by?
30 minutes.
Exactly. You understand perfectly.
Okay.
30 minutes went by. Time passed.
Okay.
For years, as time passed. For years, as time went by, I noticed things weren't being done I'd requested. That's in the first situation.
Okay.
Where everyone was too afraid to lose face. They wouldn't say anything. Okay?
Okay.
Number 2. It wasn't done, blank.
It wasn't done. I was aware we had a problem. Conclusion. That was when.
That is correct. Number 2. That was when I was aware we had a problem. That is a conclusion. Very good. Number 3.
Well, understandable.
That's a reaction now. She's reacting.
So that was.
That was is not an option. We have that is. That's.
Okay.
So that's correct. That was the only one that we didn't categorize, and now we found it. It's in the reaction. Well, that's understandable.
That's understandable.
Okay. Number 4.
Blank, I talked to a Korean friend that I realized what was wrong. So that was.
That was is not an option. Where do you see that was? We used that was when, so we can't use it again. And there's no option. You mean so that was? Is that what you mean?
So that was.
And so that was I talked. Oh, it doesn't sound right. So that was I talked to a Korean friend. You're missing a word. If you said so that was when I talked, that would be okay. But we don't have when in that expression. So that was, you're missing a word. So it doesn't fit.
Okay. In the end.
And in the end, I
No.
talked to a Korean friend. By the way, let's say hello to Alexander, who's just joining us right now. Hello, Alexander.
Hi.
Still in Greece?
No.
Just your picture.
Yeah. It was taken in Greece.
So, we just listened to someone talking about a cultural experience they had, and we're focusing on the way she told the story. So what I've done is to take some sentences out of the story and put all of those little connector words at the top, and you have to put them back in. Then you're going to use it to tell a story of your own, a cultural story, because the context here is how culture affects doing business. So that's the plan, Alexander.
Okay, got it.
All right. So we're just finishing up the first. These are called critical incidents. When there's a cultural misunderstanding, we call that a critical incident. So Daniel is finishing up the story about the first critical incident. And Daniel, what was the incident in a nutshell?
The incident, the first and the second story.
Well, the first one. That's the one you're finishing. So
one.
what was the first one?
Okay. In that culture, they are too respectful to the seniors people, and they never say no.
Exactly.
They always say yes.
Right.
They never request nothing.
Okay, and what culture was that was being described? Do you remember where?
Korean.
Yeah, they were in Korea, right. Okay. So is that clear, Alexander, more or less?
So, but I'll try.
No, but did you understand the cultural incident, the what we called the what was the word I used before? The critical incident. So it took place where?
In Korea.
Korea.
And the problem was no one would do the work because they were too embarrassed to admit that they didn't really understand. And also, they're very respectful, so they don't talk back. That was cultural incident 1. Daniel, what was cultural incident 2?
In Poland.
In Poland, okay.
Senior people aren't respectful to junior employee.
Okay. So the senior people are not respectful to the juniors, or at least in this company they're not. You're getting a lot of SMSs there, Alexander. What's happening? You're getting a lot of messages.
I'm sorry.
You're very popular today. Very popular. So, it's in Poland. And what was the situation? Because Alexander probably wasn't listening in the beginning. So what was the situation? What was the task that had been set? Do you remember, Daniel?
Yes.
What did Magda have to do that she didn't do?
What? Sorry?
What did the employee, the junior, Magda, what did she have to do that she failed to do? Gabby said she didn't do the task. What was her task?
Survey, to do surveys.
Right. And what was the problem?
Seniors didn't answer questions.
That's basically
it. The question came from a junior.
That's basically it.
Right.
No, that's it. Okay, so Alexander, is the general idea clear for the two incidents? The general idea, more or less clear. Okay, so where did the second one take place? Because you have to remember some details or it's going to be difficult. Where did the second one take place?
In Poland.
Correct. And did the senior staff cooperate with the junior staff? Yes or no?
No.
No, they didn't is correct. They didn't. So there was an issue about authority. They didn't answer the survey because it was done by a junior person. The first one didn't take place in Poland. Where did it take place, Alexander?
The first one.
Yeah.
In Korea.
In Korea. And here, the tasks were not done because people were too afraid to ask questions. It would seem disrespectful if they asked questions. They were too embarrassed. Okay, so that's the general idea. Let's look on the language of telling the cultural story. Okay, so Daniel, I want you to read 1 to 3 with the answers, and then we'll decide 4 and 5 together. Okay, can you read it from the beginning?
Yes. For years, as time went by, I noticed that things weren't being done that I requested. It wasn't done. That was when I was aware we had a problem. Well, that's understandable.
And now we're at 4. So, what do you think? Now, did she talk to a Korean friend at a specific point in time?
Yes.
She did. So that gives you a clue about what, if you see the preposition or the adverb that talks about specific points in time, you'll get it.
That was. No, and so, no.
No. How do we talk about a specific point in time? For example, in the end can be a specific point in time. That's one option. But we know that's a conclusion. And here we're not reaching a conclusion exactly. Not exactly. By the way, it doesn't sound bad, but it's not the best answer. Another way to talk about a specific point in time is to say at 5 o'clock. At the weekend or at weekends. Okay, that's another way. Another way is to talk about the beginning or the end of a period of time. So you have to get something done.
Okay. It wasn't until I told you, no?
Correct. And it wasn't until. So keep going.
Yeah.
It wasn't until
I talked to a Korean friend that I realized what was wrong.
Exactly. Okay, Alexander, you're going to try the 5th one, and you can see the answers we already used in the chat window.
I see. Okay. My team didn't want to refuse my request.
Here you have to express a reason, a cause or a reason.
I think so. That was respect for seniority.
Try again. There's a better answer. There's a better answer.
Okay. It came about.
It came about
because of my respect for my seniority.
It came about because of. So let's see if it fits. My team didn't want to refuse my request. It came about. Oh, there's a problem because that's a new sentence. And here, you don't have a new sentence. You just have a word or two.
I understand what I have to put here.
But you're right. Because is the right idea.
Due to?
Exactly. So read it again with due to. See how it sounds.
Okay. My team didn't want to refuse my request due to respect for my seniority.
Perfect. That is it. Okay? Back to Daniel for 6. Now we're in the situation in Poland, the other one.
Yes. I realized they hadn't actually told him this.
Remember, this is taken from the conversation that you heard. So you have to kind of remember the conversation too. Who's speaking and who's reacting. This might not be that clear.
It's yes. So that was
For number 6?
yes.
Maybe. Maybe. I'll put a question mark. Maybe, maybe not.
It came about because of
Are you guessing?
I'm guessing.
Don't guess. When we get the other ones, you'll see what's missing. So let's put a question mark for so that was. We're not sure. Maybe, maybe not.
Okay.
Let's see. So Alexander, let's see if we can figure out 7. And remember, if you think one of the ones we used before fits, you might want to put it here. Because maybe we were wrong before. We'll see. Try it. Authority. Authority.
Authority figure. The first problem solved.
So now she's explaining. She's giving an explanation. It's not that easy because you didn't listen to the whole conversation. But you can make an educated guess if you like.
Conclusion.
It's not really conclusion. It's just another moment in time. I mean, it's similar to a conclusion because you've got a good conclusion word.
So the second gap maybe it wasn't until.
It wasn't until the first problem solved. Oh, if you say until, you have to say until something. So you're missing the something. It doesn't work. Daniel, what do you think?
In the end.
Authority figure. In the end, the first problem solved. You're missing information. In the end, what? So you're missing information.
The first maybe it came about because of authority figure.
Huh? What do you mean? The authority figure comes first. So authority figure. It came about because of the first problem solved? You're filling in the blank, right, Alexander?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You can't put it before. You've got to put it in the middle.
I thought that before the authority figure, I have to put something else.
No. After.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So look, for number 7, we've got to come back to it because we're not sure. Let's try number 8. We're back to you, Daniel.
Did you do?
Did you do?
So what did you do?
Oh, right. So what did you do is correct. Yeah,
what
that's
did
it.
you do?
So what did you do? Number 8 is correct. We're back to number 9, Alexander.
Okay. Well, I asked Anna, a Polish colleague.
So she asks, what did you do? Well, blank. I asked Anna, a Polish colleague. So she's giving a result. A result.
But then?
Say again?
But then?
Why but? She doesn't need to contrast anything. She's just giving the result.
In the end.
Exactly. In the end is correct. That's right. Okay. Daniel, last one.
Yes, it came about because of the lack of information about why we were questioning them.
That is correct. It came about because of. So let's go back to 6 and 7. Let's see if we can get those now. 6 and 7 are still not finished. Because 6 was wrong, and 7 we didn't guess. So either one of you. Yes, blank, I realized they hadn't actually told him this.
But then
I realized is correct. Okay, and so that leaves only one choice for 7.
So that was.
So that was, right, the first problem solved. There you go. Those are all the answers. That's it. Now, what you need to do is use these expressions yourself. We already did this. It says, which of the phrases do the speakers use to tell the story, explain the reason, show they're listening? We've already done this because we categorized these into 4 categories. The categories were, they're up there in the chat window: cause, conclusion, reason, sequence, or time. I think those categories are more useful than these, to be honest with you. So cause, because of, due to. Sorry?
No, sorry.
It's not one of our choices. In spite of isn't a choice here.
I was thinking, but I thought I see. Go ahead. Sorry.
Just these. In the end, but then, just those expressions. So, cause were those. Conclusion, we said, for example, in the end. Reason, we said, was so that was, so it came about because of. Okay, that's another one you could say for reason. And the rest of them are just storytelling, expressing the sequence or something that happened in time. For example, as time went by, that was when, it wasn't until, but then. So these are just storytelling connectors. What I want you to do. Uh-oh. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Read the cultural tip about Indonesia. There it is. Look at the pictures and work together to tell the story. Okay, so Alexander, can you read the tip, and then we'll make sure it's clear, and then we're going to together we'll go through the pictures. Go ahead.
Doing business in Indonesia, it's important to offer refreshment to guests. This is seen as respectful and polite. Guests should wait before drinking. The host will indicate that drinking can commence. Often there is a pause between receiving the drink and being asked to drink. The sign to drink may indicate that business is over. Make sure you wait and follow your host's example.
So, if you get served, do you start slurping up your tea right away?
I don't know one of this word.
Which?
Commence.
Commence.
Can commence.
Commence. Senor Corral.
Yes.
Commence. What does it mean?
What?
What does commence mean?
Commence.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know to start.
To start. Alexander, to start.
Latin word.
Right. Alexander.
Almost a Spanish word.
Alexander?
Yeah.
To start.
Mm-hmm.
Is it clear now?
Yeah.
So when should you start to drink? If you're given refreshment, when should you start to drink, Alexander? When what happens? Do you start immediately? Yes or no?
No. I have to wait before drinking.
Wait for what to happen? Wait for who to do what? No, this is not you, by the way. This is in the culture of Indonesia, according to the text.
When the deal is over.
No, not when the deal is over. What is a host? If you come to my house, are you the host or are you the guest? Obviously, you are.
I'm the guest, yeah.
Right, and so I am
the host.
You are host.
Exactly. So when should you start drinking? When the host
commence.
When the host tells you to commence.
Yeah.
The host will tell you, maybe not in words, maybe in gestures, but the host will tell you. It would be rude to just start. So this is a cultural attitude. Now, I'm not saying that everyone is like this, but this is a cultural observation for this particular culture, okay? Now, with that in mind, let's look at a situation. What do we need to do here? We basically need to tell the story of what happened. And hang on just a second. If you want to cheat, you can go to the next page, and you can use some of these key expressions that we've been looking at. You've heard them earlier in the class. You don't need to, though. We just need to tell the story. So let's read through it first to make sure it's clear. In the first picture, Alexander, read the caption.
Last year, Indonesia with a colleague meeting to negotiate new contract.
Okay, so you have to put that together in a story, to begin the story. Daniel, read the caption on the second picture, please.
Near end of meeting, refreshments offered.
Okay, the third picture, Alexander.
Picked up my cup. Colleague said, "Wait."
What's she doing in the picture? What's the colleague doing?
She's stopping him.
Yeah, she's stopping you with her hand. Okay, and Daniel, the caption in the fourth.
Negotiation completed. Host invited us to take refreshments.
So, it's not just the cultural incident, but it's how it affected the business that's important. So there was a negotiation going on. That's something important to keep in mind. Now, what I want you to do is use those connectors that we just learned to try to tell the story. You feel confident with those connectors? We had due to, so that was, and came about because of, and in the end, as time went by, we had all those expressions from the previous slide. So, why don't we do this by writing what we would probably say, line by line. But we only have a few minutes, but let's see if we can at least do the beginning. Okay, so let's decide on how we would start. By the way, did they complete their business deal? Yes or no?
Yes, because the host invited them to take refreshments.
Okay. Well, wait a second. Maybe we've got one more thing to do here, which is, hold on a second here. Give me just a minute. One second. Uh-oh, lost my page. There we go. Hold on a second. I think we're missing something important here. Just double check. Maybe not. Because are these in the right order? I'm looking at them wondering. I think these are actually out of order. Give me just a second. I need to open this on my screen here to double check. One moment. It doesn't really say much. Ah, here we go. Okay. I can see it now. Because it says at the end, host invited to take refreshment, but that seems to... Okay, no. I got it. I understand now. Okay. I was confused. My fault. No, the pictures are definitely in the right order. No problem. So, it's kind of important that the host invites them. Isn't it? I see now. If you look at the tip about Indonesian culture, it actually makes sense. What do you think is the relationship between the tip on slide 10 and the ending of the story on slide 11? What's the relationship there?
Maybe friendly.
What almost happened? They avoided a major problem Think about the tip. What was the tip?
They have to wait for their host.
Exactly. So they almost had a major problem. How did they stop the problem from happening?
Holding his arm.
Right. She held his arm because he wasn't aware that that would be offensive. Okay? So what I suggest you do is go back to the previous slide. The problem is we're out of time. So go back to the previous slide here on slide 8. And I suggest that you write the story in this particular case. So go to slide 8, look at the pictures on slide 11, and use those key expressions to tell the story. Everything is actually in order, and I agree with you about the problem that you mentioned earlier. They had to wait to drink. He wasn't aware of it. His colleague stopped him, and that avoided the cultural incident. Okay? So I suggest you write it and send it to me in the Verbling message window. Not the chat window, but the Verbling message system on the top right. I'll correct it and I'll send it back to you. And then we'll listen to it in the next class. And in the next class, you're going to talk about a situation of your own. Okay? Mm-hmm. So try that as a homework. Is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll try to send it to you as a summary as well. Try that as a homework, and we're going to continue with this on Monday, because tomorrow we have hot topics, a different class. So on Monday at 10 GMT, just like same hours today. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Goodbye.
See you on Monday. Bye.